Welcome. I'm Julio Malara, CEO and producer of the 21st Century Business Forum. I want to take a quick minute to thank you for joining us over the past 9 months on the Business Forum. Our mission since day one has been to provide conversations with some of the best business minds and thought leaders who share their ideas, insights, strategies, and inspiration. At a time when there's so much negative news, we want to offer solutions, possibilities, and encouragement to those in business. I also want to thank our inaugural host, best-selling author, and my good friend John Gordon, who is now passing the baton to our new host, Clay Young. John will be joining us in the first quarter of 2022, but as a guest, and I can't wait. Clay Young is an entrepreneur, a radio show host, and appears as a commentator on television. He kicks off today's interview with one of the most admired CEOs in America, Todd Graves. So let's get started with this episode of the Business Forum.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 21st Century Business Forum. I'm your host, Clay Young. This morning, our guest is Todd Graves, award-winning founder and CEO of Raising Cane's, a fast casual concept that is on an incredible growth trajectory, unlike most concepts in the crowded restaurant space. His company has more than tripled in size in just 5 years, and in early 2020, Forbes reported the restaurant's average unit volume exceeded that of McDonald's. At the time, 3.6 million compared to 2.8 million for McDonald's. His expansion this year is focused on the East Coast, with his eye on $3 billion in annual sales. That's a lot of chicken fingers and warm, buttery Texas toast. Todd, it's so great to see you, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great. Look, Clay, you're looking as dashing as you always do, and early in the morning. How do you do it?
I don't know, man. I'm used to it. I've done it so many times I don't think about it. But let's talk about you. For people who haven't been around you, they don't know that you're always so optimistic. You're always so forward thinking. And you and I have had lots of conversations over the years, and you're always thinking about moving forward and staying above. But I want to start with the thing that people talk about the most about Raising Cane's. And of course, that's the sauce. You've never told me about the sauce. Is it under lock and key somewhere? Tell me about the Cane's sauce and the genesis behind that.
Well, as the old saying goes, I could tell you, but then you know what happens.
Yeah, right,
then.
right,
So,
right.
Yeah, it's funny. So, some people think, I have it in a safe that's in a vault in some, misty mountains off in the wilderness somewhere. And no, that's not true. We have the basic ingredients that our managers put together every day in the restaurant, right?
Okay.
We make it fresh and we make it several times a day, every day. So it's not like something I can send from a commissary somewhere and just send it to them. No one knows what it is. So I have the basic ingredients, but I do have spice packets and things like that are made to put in there. That is actually just me and the dog knows what exact that spice is, and that's what takes it over the top.
I mean, it's amazing. It's one of those things, and that's about as much as you're going to get out of him as it relates to the sauce. So we can.
Hey, Clay, I will tell you something fun real quick.
Okay.
So with labeling those packets, I do my special spice packets. I think what I'm going to start doing is adding ingredients to that really won't affect the flavor, but in trace elements. Maybe something like royal jelly, right? Himby root, little things like that. So if managers read it in the restaurant, then start a little more urban legend. I think that'd be a good idea. What do you think?
Well, y'all heard it here first. He's just going to mess with us even more when it relates to that sauce. You've grown so much over the years, and Cane's has been such a great example of a business that's bootstraps up. Let's talk about some of your growth strategies and what you do with all of your locations in the various regions around the world.
Yeah, growth is a part of what we do, right? It is a part of our vision, right? But what I try to express to people when they go is, look, hey, what's the tactics and strategies and everything around your growth? I really have to go back to our number one strategy for growth is staying true to who we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how we started, right? And so that means, staying true to our one love, and that's quality chicken finger meals, never losing that focus. I mean, look, that's our concept, is doing one thing and doing it better than anybody else. And so with us doing that chicken finger focus, that chicken finger quality meal, we can serve it with fast food speed and convenience. If we added items to our menu, then we'd slow down that speed. Thus, we wouldn't be doing what our concept is. And so people constantly have been like, if you just added this kind of sauce, you do better. If you just added dessert, if you just added salads, if you just added breakfast, if you just added all these things, then you would be doing even better. Well, we stay true to who we are. It's the same menu that we've had for almost 25 years now. And so that's important. And that's why we've been able to grow. Secondarily, we've stayed true to our core values, our non-negotiables, our mission, and our vision, right? And so part of that vision that guides us is that someday we'll grow Raising Cane's all over the world and be known as the brand for quality chicken finger meals, great crew, cool culture, and active community involvement, right? This has always guided me. And so you think about it, it's just as much of a cultural statement as it is, a vision statement, a growth statement. Like wanting to be known for quality chicken finger meals is one thing, but great crew, cool culture, and active community involvement, those are values. Those are cultural things. And so, but we're a growth company, right? All over the world part. So with that takes a lot of intense planning, which we do. We do it on an annual basis. We go in, we do our annual growth plans, and we tie that with the short term, 12 months out, but then also our long-term plan, which we're planning out the next 10 years. Now it's organic, it's constantly changing, but we're doing that. But with that planning, we look at several things. Number one being manpower, and then how we're building bench strength to grow our business, right? So if you might say, hey, we need 180 managers in the next, 6 months. Well, we go for 300 plus because we're going to end up with the best when we go after that 300. It's also looking at the systems and processes we're going to need to go to the future. Site selection, supply chain, all those different components. It takes intense strategic planning. And like I said, mainly being manpower, being the most important that we can do just to be prepared for that growth, right? One of the ways I grew, which is really paying off for now, us being the fastest growing restaurant concept in the United States of America right now, right. For a large company. I've been the fastest growing restaurant concept in the US basically since I started growing back in the late 1990s for each category, small, and then, each category, 200 to 500 million were the fastest growing, 500 to a billion were the fastest, now over 2 billion were the fastest. What I did was, instead of growing contiguous, throughout Louisiana, Texas, and then hitting Oklahoma and growing out like this, which a lot of concepts do for brand recognition, and it's not a bad strategy. I grew in different parts of the country in all different regions, right? And I established those different seeded markets early on. Now, I got my butt kicked in a lot of them. People didn't know who we were. I lost money, had to regain and build my customer base. But for rapid growth at this time in our business, it's really paid off because we're not just growing contiguously in some areas. We have opportunities to get site selection in all parts of the country right now.
There's so much to unpack with what you said. I want to go back to what your thoughts on remaining true to who you are. Our audience, as you know, is business people, people who are rising on the C-suite level. So really double down on not being distracted or pulled away from who you are as a business owner and what your product or service is, and why deviating could water down what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really, there's two things been the key to our success: is knowing who we are and staying to our values, and then really focusing on our crew, our customers, and our community. I mean, it's really is that simple. Now, it's a lot of hard work that goes with that. But, I would encourage anybody in business or any other organization to find your one love. My one love's chicken fingers, right? And I strive to be the best at that, the best at chicken fingers, better than anybody else. And so finding your business's one love and focusing on that. What do you do exceptionally well? And focus on that, and then execute it every day in, day out, execute it. That's how you win. That's really how you win. Understanding what you're good at, not trying to be all things to all people is so important, because if you try to be, all things to all people, you're not anything to anybody, right? It's what are you good at? What can you do exceptionally well? Focus on that, and then deliver that. Execute. So I'll just tell you, in my 25 years of business, which is crazy, we're just about to hit our 25th birthday, is I have been, up to just recently, have been, given advice by the so-called experts. And these are people trying to give me good advice, right? It's not like they're trying to do anything. They're just trying to help. But I mean, I can't tell you how many times it's like, you can't keep going just that kind of menu. Well, no, this is what our concept is, right? It's our one love. And that's what makes us special. Well, you might be able to do that in Louisiana, but you can't do it in Texas. Well, then, now you can do it in Texas, but you're never gonna be able to do it out West. Well, you're not gonna be able to do it in Midwest. You're not gonna be able to do these things here. And sticking to those guns is really, really what has made us successful. And look, when I tell you about this stuff too, is we're able to, instead of spending time working on different things like menu items or different things to basically cannibalize our own business, we're actually can concentrate on the things that matter. Our team, right? Our customers and our communities. I can spend that time doing that. So I think that temptation is constantly there to get off what you're good at. And I've seen it happen 1,000 times. I would say 1,000,000 times, right? Yeah, you have to stick to it. You have to know who you are and you have to stick to it.
It's interesting. That's a perfect segue into what I want to ask next. And that's about the culture inside of your restaurant, the customer service aspect of Raising Cane's, kind of like a Chick-fil-A. It's above peer. And you never go to a Raising Cane's without someone who is perky and fired up to meet you. And they've got one of these things that they'll say to you when you're in the drive-thru. Tell us about that, your secret to mastering the customer service experience and making every visit to a Raising Cane's memorable.
Man, well, you're making me happy and proud, and and that's what I get from people just constantly. And I love bragging on my crew. People get very surprised when they ask me, "Hey, you got to pay your people a lot more than your competitors because they're so friendly." And they're happy being there. I mean, it has to be because you pay them more. I'm like, no, I don't pay more than our competitors. I mean, they're like, what? Well, then why are they so happy? And look, my answer to that is because I care about them. I genuinely care about them, right? And so, look, I'm the original fry cook and cashier, right? It's on my sleeve.
It's true, folks. And he has more than one of those shirts because I think only twice have I seen you not in a polo for Raising Cane's.
That's all I wear. I'm constantly wearing the brand. They may be some Raising Cane's pajamas for that same reason. My title on my business card, founder, chairman, CEO, fry cook, cashier. Look, it comes down to, we look customer service. We have all of our tactics because we're operators. Look, I mean, I built this business inside and out. And since then I brought great people in there, even better operators than me. And it's what we do. We like working drive-thrus. We like frying chicken. We like doing this. So tactfully, we literally come up with better ways to service our customers quicker, faster, friendlier, fresher food. We're always working on improving our model, but it really comes down to it. It's not that. It comes down to it is for great customer service, right? Customer service, we think we should serve our crew members who are serving those customers, right? They know that I care about them. And then when I say me, I'm talking about me and all the other restaurant leaders in our company. We care about them. We know the job's tough, but if we make the job fun, it's going to be a fun job. We're going to work hard. We're going to be on our feet all day. We're going to do the same thing we do every day, but we're going to do it with a smile on our face and we're going to enjoy ourselves. We're going to appreciate our customers' dollars they're spending with us, because then we all have a job. But it's appreciation. And so look, as far as the customer service model, I'd say this, once everybody can come up with their tactics to do customer service. I have my checklist, 15 levels of service, et cetera, et cetera. The main thing you do with customer service is serving those crew members who are serving your customers is let them know they're appreciated. I mean, look, communicate that with them constantly. And this is a great day and age with social media and crew apps. You can have employee apps, things like that, constant communication by saying, look, I appreciate you. It's just literally like that. We're doing great. I appreciate you so much. Secondarily, show them by doing stuff for them, right? Like literally, I created a program, Clay, called Cane's Love. And it's its own department in Raising Cane's. It's staffed with a whole bunch of people. And the whole purpose of it is crew member respect, recognition, rewards. I mean, literally, it's down to how we're going to constantly show those crew members how we appreciate them. And look, it goes from very simple things like making them a ghost pop at Halloween, and that's a whole nother story, something simple as that, to giving 10-year awards and everything else that goes with it. But crew member appreciation is our secret to customer service.
Well, I want to stay on that just for a second. You've built a big operation with stores in so many places, but you've got an amazing team. So how do you stay with the connectivity between your belief system, your team, and the managers and the crew members on the ground actually touching the customers every day?
Yeah, I mean, that's the key, right? I mean, it's a total key. So look, I got voted or ranked by my crew members as top 100 CEO in the United States of America, but multiple years, right?
Mm-hmm.
What an
Mm-hmm.
incredible honor, man. That's 100 of all business categories. That deal is, but like, I can't take credit for that because I don't see my 40,000 crew members. They see me on a video and I travel to my restaurants, but it's all because those restaurant leaders that I partnered with in each one of those locations shares in my same values. It shares in my same non-negotiable, shares in the vision, the mission, and they're intrinsically motivated like I am. Intrinsically motivated, meaning we're the first place where most people go get their first job, right? We have a great platform to teach values, work hard, but have fun, give back to your community, earn your money, all those great things you can do there. Intrinsically motivated means how much we give back to our communities. And so with that, I can continue to have Raising Cane's culture. Not only in the United States, we're having the same culture in the Middle East, the same culture, but our partner in the Middle East shares the same values that Todd Graves does and Raising Cane's does. So to do this, we have to be extremely, extremely diligent with recruiting. I mean, like, it takes us twice as long to recruit somebody that we do in the normal industry, because to hire somebody, because we're so guardians of that, the philosophy they have to be aligned with us. There's also attribute testing. You can actually see attributes that line up on personality testing to see if you're aligned as well. And so that's not to make a decision. It comes with a lot of interview process. Like I said, we take twice the amount of time normal restaurants do in interviewing, but it can narrow down. If you have 1,000 people to look at, it can narrow it down to like 750, right? Because at least you're in the ballpark, because some people aren't motivated the same way. Some people are motivated more by title and more by money and more of those things. And we have all that stuff too. But to work in restaurants, and it's a 24/7 deal, you know what I mean? It's a tough business. You got to be a part of something, a purpose that's greater than that. But the key to our culture and our growth is having those restaurant partners and all those the restaurants, those trade areas, and they're really the Todd Graves of their trade area.
Well, to that point, the pandemic starts last year. You're down 30%. By the time the year is over, you're up 10%. And you've got this mantra of no crew left behind. I want to hear more about that.
Yeah. Look, that was a tough time for all businesses when it came out. What a scary feeling when all of a sudden your sales go down by 30%, right?
Right.
That's what happened to Raising Cane's. And so basically all our dining rooms were closed, about 30% of our business. And when you're a levered company and you're in an industry that the margins are very low off large volumes, you're draining cash pretty quickly. But luckily for us, our business turned out really quickly because we have the drive-through format, right? And so, but going into that, but before we knew that's where we were going to be, we had to talk to our crew. We're like, hey, look, we need everybody working together and getting through this because we don't want anybody to lose their job. And it was talking that way. And I'm like, we need something to rally behind. And it wasn't me that came up with it. Somebody said, how about no crew left behind? It's just all these people going around. We're like, that's it. That's the one. Right. And then if we can all work together and be behind something like that and something's that important, then, you're all part of something greater than yourself, right? I mean, it's like during an exhausting period, you want something when you're not going on sleep. You want to say, hey, this is something bigger than me and bigger than our company. And so, look, it was really great, man. I mean, like in the beginning, we had a lot of our crew members took down some hours that everybody could have some hours. It was really an amazing thing seeing, and they're hearing me and our other leadership saying, thank you for doing this. But then we were able to give, because we came back with the drive-through, we were able to give $5 million bonus pretty quickly where people were not even made whole. They actually made more money. And it was just a beautiful thing.
It's so interesting. You've had so many experiences. What about your years in the business, more than 20 years, helped you prepare the most for a year as unprecedented and as unpredictable as 2020?
Clay, I have to say, Hurricane Katrina just really prepared me for then planning for the worst, and hoping for the best. We had Hurricane Katrina, which, you went through like I did.
Yeah.
It was just one of those times. And Raising Cane's at that point had only had we had 28 restaurants when Katrina hit. 21 of the 28 went down. And and this is interesting. So I think this is worth talking about because it shows how way back then in our culture it's the exact same way. Back then, I really levered the business as a young man and feeling he was 10 foot tall and bulletproof. I over levered the business. So when our 21 and 28 restaurants went down and we were levered and there was no sales coming into those restaurants, I literally thought we were going to close down. I gathered our group and said, hey, we got to do all we can because we're going to try, but I over levered us and I'm sorry, but we got to get our restaurants open. And one, to save the business. Two, people need their jobs to come back to. And three, we got to do things well in our community. We got to make things grow great for the community members coming back. Clay, we rallied around that, just like the No Crew Left Behind. We were the first restaurant open in Harvey. I mean, this is for like 3 months. First in Kenner and first in all the North Shore. We opened like 10 restaurants at first of any of them. Then we got mucho sales back because we're the only restaurants open and we were able to survive that. But that taught me about rallying people behind a cause that's greater than ourselves. And also too, it taught me never lever the business like I did before. And I never have since then.
Your company's culture is said to have been rooted in appreciation. And I know that you're one of these guys who, as I said in the beginning, you're so optimistic. The first location was near the LSU campus. And here's a quote: appreciation for the crew. You have said, because my crew is helping me achieve my dream. So many companies are on the hunt for the quote unquote secret to company culture, looking for those 5 tips or revelatory, things. But I do want to ask, secret is such a broad word, but you're the founder. Raising Cane's was one of only 4 companies in the hospitality industry ranked among Glassdoor's 2021 100 best places to work in the U.S. And as I said earlier, the kids are always happy. How did your philosophy come to be, and how are you maintaining it, man, after almost 25 years?
Oh, man, the best thing that could ever happen to me is, this is it. And this is what changed my life. Look, I had a dream to open a restaurant and I thought I could go in and do that because I worked in restaurants. I knew what to do. I knew I could work hard and do the deal. And I thought you would just write a business plan and you get a good grade on that. Then you go to the banks, you get your money and you open your restaurant. And the best thing that happened to me was, no, that's not how it happens. You get the worst grade in the business planning class because your concept was not on trend to what was happening in the industry then, right? And then an entrepreneur, that's just fuel, it's pushing gasoline on a fire. Well, guess what? I'll show you. Getting turned down by the banks. It's the same kind of fuel to keep going. And then you have to know if you're really committed and if you really have a dream and a passion, you're going to make it happen. So, and I did. And so I went out and worked in refineries in Los Angeles as a Boilermaker. And I went to Hawaii. I went to Denver working night shifts, and Boilermaker works really, really tough, and you can make a lot of money in a short period of time. And, then I went and commercial fished in Alaska. Right. And I mean, during the peak of the season, we worked 20-hour days, catching salmon, just incredible. And then people were like, they were dying on other boats and all this crazy stuff was going on, but I was on my chicken finger dream, right? I mean, I really wanted it. And then be able to come back to Baton Rouge and reconstruct that first location, North Gates of LSU, and then not having hardly any money, left over after you went and got, a bunch of used equipment and you put this place together. And then you open your doors and you have no extra money. And this crew that you hired from college, came in, they wanted some part-time work. They're working 60-hour weeks. I'm not kidding you, because I didn't hire enough people because I really didn't know what I was doing. And they're working to do my dream is. And then at the end of that first month, we make $30. You make $30. And I can tell you, I was so thrilled about that $30 because it meant I could pay my crew. I could pay my rent. I could pay my vendors. I could pay everybody. And when something's that tough, it never leaves you. You build appreciation and you build appreciation for that team. You build appreciation, that's helping you achieve your dream. You're building appreciation for the customers that are coming out and spending their money at your place. Then you appreciate the community because the community as a whole, and this was around that LSU North Gates area, they were coming in and like the church groups and then the band and, all these different groups, they had a little money to maybe go to lunch or to dinner. They come to Cane's because they knew I was working so hard. So once you have that, it never leaves you. So every restaurant matters in Cane's. And so I don't take any of them for granted because I still have that feeling in the back of my gut, like, will it still happen? Will I still achieve my dream? So I'm just very grateful that that's the way I had to start the business.
You know, you've been honored many times over, including as a most admired CEO. Uh, when you think about that, people talking about how much they admire you, what qualities or actions do you think create that scenario where people look at you and say, I want to be that guy?
Well, I can't speak for every business in the world, but I mean, we're pretty much have the same core qualities, right? As we grow, we have our crew, and you might call them team members, associates, whatever. I
Hmm.
recommend you don't ever call anybody an employee. I don't think that's a
Right.
good term.
I love team
'Cause
member.
team members awesome, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we start off a crew because I was thinking
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
like crew with a K, but it stayed the C.
Right.
Anyway, I get off topic here. But so for me, is what I think it just boils down to is, and it's real simple, is that my crew know I genuinely care about them, right?
Hmm.
I genuinely care about them. And I show them that through, I talked about the communication. It's, you have to communicate. You can't just feel it. They have to see it. And then the things that I do for them, you're right. And then also too is, which this is a big one, is they know I'm working hard. They can see it, they can tell. And so they know I'm working hard to make their job better, for them to take care of our customers better. And so those initiatives that I do, it's my focus. My crew is my number one focus. So as far as from the crew member and the awards I get as most admired CEO, I think it's those things. And because I do those things, right, they know I care about them. I communicate it and then also show them. and with everything I do is they trust me. Right.
Hmm.
And then if you trust somebody and they know you're working hard, was that component to make their job easier, they're very loyal and then they work hard. And so I just think
Right.
it's that. Right. And I think if I lost any of those components, like if I didn't get down to the details on, what the Thanksgiving recipes are going to be this year that we send out, or what's actually going to go in the prize packet during Easter, that I actually pick out the prizes, I mean, I actually do all that because I want them to know I care about you. I don't want to go down to some committee and someone else might not care.
Right.
If I ever lost any of that, then I think our culture would suffer.
So, what entrepreneurs or CEOs do you admire the most, and why?
And I admire so many, from smaller business to large, but I'm a restaurant operator, so I always look to my own industry. And two people I really look up to. One's Andrew Churn with a Panda Restaurant Group. And Andrew and his wife Peggy came over from China with Andrew's
Hmm.
father, didn't speak a lick of English. They come into LA and they start a restaurant called Panda Inn. It's still there. It's like gourmet Chinese. It's amazing. Andrew and Peggy thought of, hey, how about we do, which became Panda Express, like a more of a quick service format of this.
Hmm.
And they started and grew, and they've got 2,500 locations now. It's incredible. They're company owned, like mine. And what I love about them is they care about their crew. It's the same values, right? Care about their crew, work hard operations. They love what they do. It's not about a paycheck. It's about doing something special, right? And then what they give back. And but I love Andrew. But Andrew's, he's in his 70s, and man, I mean, I had trouble keeping up with him. Like we go to markets and seeing Cane's and seeing Panda Express. I mean, it's like boom, 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 and I'm like, that's who I want to be like. I mean, I want to
Right.
be in the 70s. I might not retire, but it's not in my thought. It's like I want to do what I love, and so that's inspiring to me. You know what I mean? And I also can talk about a lot of mistakes he's made. In his 70s, like I can tell people I'm in my 50s now, the mistakes I've made. We kind of all learn from each other. And that's what we do. Second one, Muhammad Al Shaya, who's my partner in the Middle East, MH Al Shaya company. His family was original, not from oil. They were actually traders along the path through Kuwait, right? And we have these wonderful
Mm.
pictures of this trade route with camels taking goods and services. So he understands business from that end. And he has, I don't know, over 100 different concepts and builds the big malls in the region. But I'm really aligned to him because he's into the details, and he puts what he needs behind everybody's concept that he franchises. And so since then, when we share those values, we've always been to work great together. But what he does in the region was important to me. He's like, look, when I first went to Saudi, women didn't drive, and he was
Mm.
part of working to say women need to drive. We need Saudis in the workforce. We need locals.
Sure.
All these things I'm seeing that's happened over this past decade of working with him. It's great seeing that. So he's someone I look up to because he had those values and he had these aspirations to help his community, but he's really seen it through in a big way.
As if being a CEO of a hugely successful company wasn't enough, you're also a television star, believe it or not. How do Secret Millionaire and Restaurant Recovery fit into the quote secret sauce? And what did you learn doing these shows?
I don't know if I'd say television star, but I definitely was in television. I got this funny story. I got called early on to be in a reality show called Gilligan's Island. Do you remember that one? To
Yeah.
be Thurston Howell, the millionaire. And I was
Wow.
like, no, that probably wouldn't make any sense. Then I got called to be on The Bachelor, and I was married, so that didn't make sense. Gwen was
That wouldn't
not
have gone
for
over
that.
well at all. No.
Yeah, she said no. And then but then I realized what it was I was part of a cover story, an entrepreneur magazine called Young Millionaires. And
Hmm.
it was like 30 of us in there. I wasn't even on the cover, but somehow my name came up with that. So when they're looking at these different reality shows, I came up Young Millionaire. I'm like, no, that's not what I'm about. I'm about, chicken fingers and helping people.
Sure.
So
Sure.
anyway, one show called Secret Millionaire, and they told us what it was about. And they said it was about, you're going to be able to highlight helping people that are helping their community, and they want to know who you are, and you can go in and you can help their charities later. And they said, we'll let you do in the area that was ravaged by Hurricane Katrina. And that's why I agreed to do it, because they're telling their stories. Well, we did the show, and there was an overwhelming response for these community leaders when every one of their charities, I mean, people around the money saw the show, saw what they're about, sent money. So I really understood the power of television by doing this experience. So, fast forward all these years to 2020 and seeing how these restaurants were suffering during the pandemic, watching these independent family-owned restaurants that don't have a drive-through like I do, suffer and even close. And I was just like, we got to do something. I had power of television. I knew the power of television from doing it before. Created a series called Restaurant Recovery, where we went in and highlighted these independent family-owned restaurants to really show what struggles they go through to keep their restaurants open. People think, oh, look, this restaurant's packed. Well, it's only packed at lunch and dinner. And then, they really don't make much margins. And so, small business is the backbone of our community, right? And we got to remember to go shop there. We got to remember that. Look, Raising Cane's and Chains we have huge budgets. We got big fancy signs. We got advertising everywhere, right? Our ad budget's huge. And so we can grab your attention and remind you of us and go there. Well, the independent family-owned restaurant that's tucked away, you have to think about going there. And so I wanted people to see this, and it really help small business even more. Amazing people in 10 different markets across the country. I got celebrity friends like Snoop Dogg and Shaq. And and even Rob Snyder came in to help. All these celebs, Peyton Manning, in New Orleans. This is really great because they all appreciate and want to help out small business too. So anyway, it's on Discovery Plus. You can stream it, Restaurant Recovery. And let's always remember, support small business.
What advice would you give yourself as CEO if you were starting over again?
I think I would tell myself, it's gonna pay off. All this hard work and risk and sacrifice is gonna pay off, because you're gonna be able to help people in a big way someday. You're gonna be able to do that. I think that would have made me sleep a little better some of those nights,
Right.
and knowing when I had to miss that T-ball game, and because I had to be on the road working, Now I made half the T-ball games, but the other half I still wish I was there, right? And so it's like knowing that sacrifice later on can really do something really amazing for people. Look, I feel like we're just getting started now, but like on our 25th birthday, we're doing 25 million back into our communities. It's just like those kind of things. And as I keep growing the business, we're really going to be able to help people that need it, And so I think I would tell myself that, look, it's going to pay off.
It's interesting. It's been a fast 30 minutes. So I want to ask you this.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, right. What are three takeaways that you would give to our audience? This is an audience of business people in business or trying to get in. Are there three takeaways for the audience and getting into business? And are you gonna tell us at all what's in the secret sauce?
Well, that one I'm not. I think just from my perspective, three things that I think are just to show through my success and, what I do. And I guess three takeaways would be is one, talked about earlier, is find your one love, know what you're good at, don't be all things to all people, and then execute the heck out of that. Boom, 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 boom. That's been a winning success formula for me. Concentrating on your crew, your customers, and your community. I mean, focusing on that. Look, I spend most of my time on that, not the bottom line. Everything else that I have to do with my business to make it go, banking and financing and site selection and all the, everything else that goes with it. I'm involved with that, and I'm into the details of that. But the majority of my business is all about crew, customers, community. I think that's been one other thing of our winning formula. Focus on those things more than you do the bottom line. And then last, I would just say, be fanatical. Okay. My favorite quote is, nothing ever happens unless someone pursues a vision fanatically. Okay. Nothing ever happens unless someone pursues a vision fanatically. And that's so true, right? And that's a Todd Graves original quote right there, right? So look, it's just like, if you're fanatical, you can tell I'm fanatical about chicken fingers, but whatever you're fanatical about, whatever your business is, your organization is, be fanatical about it, man. Live it and do it. You can't be excited enough. You can't be too much into something, because if you want something to happen, be fanatical.
Fantastic. Just fantastic. So much information. I think it's a treasure trove of information for people in business and hearing your story. But this is not a person that I'm just meeting. This is a person I've known for a while, and it's really, really good. Todd, thank you so much for the time, my friend.
You too, Clay. Forward to seeing you soon.
I'd also like to thank all of you, our guests, for joining me this morning, and thank our sponsors for making this episode possible. Please join us next month when our guest is Dollar Shave Club founder Michael Dubin. He's considered by many to be one of the most innovative marketers in the direct-to-consumer sector. He landed millions of subscribers when a hilarious YouTube video in which he appeared went viral in 2012. And 5 years ago, he sold the company for $1 billion to consumer products giant Unilever. I'll see you then.